In today's video, I'm spending 100 days straight in RLCraft. For those that don't know, RLCraft is one of the hardest mod packs in the entirety of Minecraft. It's literally in the mod pack's description. This literally makes your vanilla Minecraft 1,000 times harder. And I'm going to spend 100 days straight in it. There's dungeons, there's castles, there's dragons, there's trolls. There's insanely overpowered loot. There's mermaids that literally try and kill you. Let me rephrase that really quick. Everything tries to kill you. And I'm going into this completely blind. I have never watched anything to do with RLCraft. I just know it's a hard mod pack. So I'm going to have to learn to build and craft all from scratch. This is literally my first Minecraft video on my entire channel, and only a small amount of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. So please consider subscribing. I really would appreciate it. And I hope you guys do go and enjoy the rest of the video. My Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter are in the description down below. So if you want to keep up to date with the channel or any uploads, or just want to reach out and speak to me directly, then they're in the description down below. Oh, and we're going to start this 7 days in. Watching me learn how to break a tree down for the first time is kind of boring. Yes, it takes me 7 days to learn that. I came across this big wall that seemed to be protecting something, so I jumped over to see what was inside. Once I got over, I saw through the darkness of the night that there was a floating island that I thought I'd be able to call home. I saw an entrance to the island at the top of this waterfall that I decided to swim upwards. At the top of the waterfall, I found some beds, so I decided to go to sleep. After I woke up, I decided to explore the island. I went downstairs to investigate, and I found some pretty interesting things. I found a button that opened up a secret passageway, and I also found a staircase that went down to what seems to be hell. This guy started to attack me. Everyone wants to attack me in this game. So annoying. Since the ladder way didn't go so well, I tried to use the secret passage, which literally did bring me to hell. And I died. I made it my primary objective to get past this wall, as it said it had abandoned treasure behind it. After searching through all of the chests, I finally found the jackpot. I just stumbled across one of the best discoveries I could have imagined. Fully enchanted diamond pickaxes, fully enchanted diamond swords. I also stumbled across about 77,000 pork chops. Yummy. I wanted to find out what all of these monsters were hiding, so after beating this fire demon to death, I headed further down. I came across the one and only nether portal, which was already built. Then they jumped me in it, and then I died. This demonic thing spawned and tried to burn down my base, which was very annoying. But one thing everyone must remember is that good will outweigh the evil, and I defeated the demon. And then I put out the fire because there's like no fire brigades in Minecraft. So yep, I headed deep down back to the nether portal with a flint and steel in hand and lit up the portal. I tried to go through, but he went having none of it, you know what I mean? This time I was successful in my travels and I went through. I went through the other side, and it wasn't long until I started getting attacked, poisoned, ultimately dead. I then called it quits and found this monster tower thing and looted it all just to find a couple pieces of iron. I went to bed, and the next day I went to raid a pirate ship. I shortly after realized that these pirate ships were absolutely riddled with zombies and skeletons, which spooked me a bit, but I continued. I knew I had to delete these monster spawners. However, without a pickaxe, it was pretty much pointless. I had then set the ship alight with some fire charges, and then shortly after I realized that if there were chests on board, it would also burn. I foolishly jumped on board, tried to fight some zombies. However, there was a supercharged one, and Zeus wasn't very happy. I knew what I had to do to advance in RLCraft. I had to level up my skill index. Each thing in Minecraft requires a skill index in RLCraft. Basically, you can level up each skill up to about 30 or so. And if you don't level up the skill, that means you can't put on certain armors or use certain weapons or whatever is included in that field. So right now, I am level 0 in everything. But I can use experience to level up my skills. So for the next couple days, I am just literally grinding experience levels, leveling up my skill index so I can use higher quality items. Without leveling these up, I can't use things like diamond armor, iron swords, iron pickaxes, anything like that. Same goes for hoes, enchantment tables, everything. Building, crafting. So this is very, very important. After some grinding, I decided to upgrade my armor to iron. I'd made myself an iron shield, which I was very excited about, then immediately saddened as I wasn't a high enough armor level yet. I also made myself some bandages for my future journey. I wanted to conquer this floating castle in the sky, which was guarded by this massive bird. I managed to get to the castle without being murdered by the bird, and I climbed up the waterfall. On the way up, I found this floating yacht, which I visit in the future. I also spotted this underground laboratory that really interested me. I finally made it to the top of the castle. After trying to mine myself in, I was attacked by these floating cloud creatures. They made me levitate, and then I dropped. I lived, don't worry, and I found myself into this castle. I killed off all the mobs that I had to do and destroyed the mob spawners with my iron pickaxe. I used this experience to level up my defense skills and also my gathering skills. I then took my reward, which was 2 blocks of iron and a block of diamonds. I used my bandages to heal up my broken feet and everything else which is broken. There was a lot of broken bones. I then drank some dirty water and got parasites, which was killing me. I got scared that I was going to lose all my loot, and I used this recall potion that I found from the chest. This recall potion sets you back to your set spawn point. I then realized that you could actually cook a bucket of water to purify the water. I then set back to go to the castle. I was then attacked by the cloud monsters again. This is a very recurring theme, and I will leave out a lot of these fights as they were constant. I then heard some zombie and skeleton sounds underneath the floorboards. Upon mining the floorboards, I had found a mob spawner, which I quickly broke to get some XP, and then I eliminated all of the enemies that were spawning underneath the floorboards. This was easy as I could just stand on the floor and just kill them from above. These monster spawners give you a lot of XP, so I was just using it to level up my skill index. There's 4 corners in the castle, and each corner had one of these monster spawners, and this one was skeletons, which was very dangerous. I had to eliminate these skeletons through this one block hole, as a headshot from a skeleton is instant death. After getting all of the monster spawners, I decided that enough is enough and it's time to continue my journey. I set up on the closest island, put down my sleeping bag, and it was time for sleep. I woke up the next morning and decided it was time to swim up the waterfall to the yacht. I managed to get my way to the top of the yacht and quickly found out that it was actually a safe place. Villagers actually inhabited this yacht and there wasn't a lot of loot on board. However, there were some diamond fishing rods, which I thought was pretty cool. I had then spotted this single chest on this floating island and made it my mission to get to that chest, as I was assuming there was going to be some very, very rare loot on that island. I used the water to waterfall over to the bridge. I got attacked by so many cloud monsters, which I will leave out because there's like 100 million of them. And then I was actually starved for oxygen and I died. You drown very fast in RLCraft. I tried to obtain my loot from the ocean floor. However, a lot of my loot was actually missing and I was trying to not drown, as it's very, very easy to drown. I finally found all my loot and found my way to the top of the yacht again. And then I died of hypothermia. After about 45 minutes of trying to get to this island, I finally achieved my goal. I opened the chest and found that there was a couple sunflowers. Yeah, I had put 45 minutes of work, dying about 15 times just to get some sunflowers. I use this as time to scout out my next journey. And just like that, it was time to go. On my journey, I spotted a castle and I knew where I had to go. Before I went to the castle, I approached this massive statue. Behind the statue, there were some villagers that inhabited a couple tents. I looted through and continued with my journey. It was a long way away and it started to become night, so I went to bed. I finally found my way to the castle and I knew what I had to do. I broke through the windows and looted what I could. Looking through the windows, I was checking to see where the monsters were and I decided I needed to get to the roof. I looked through, took my time, and I broke through. I quickly realized that this entire castle was riddled with good loot, and I also spotted a dragon circling the castle. I knew I had to be quick and sneaky. There were literally monsters everywhere. Scary. I broke the monster spawners and looted as much loot as I possibly could. Unfortunately, there wasn't actually a lot of loot in these chests, so I had to continue through the castle. I tried to break this monster spawner. However, it turns out that there was a presence of powerful force preventing me from doing so. All these zombies started trying to attack me, so I had to defend my ground, and I was successful in doing so. I knew once I had defeated all of these zombies, I had to continue that way to try and gain some more loot. I headed up the stairs and instantly realized there was too many bad mobs up there. So I parkoured my way to safety and was instantly hit to death by an unknown creature. This far away from home, this is bad. I spawned back at home and I instantly went through all of my chests to try and find some loot that I could use to retrieve my lost loot. There was nothing, and the only thing I could do is go to sleep to ride out the night and continue my journey tomorrow morning. I used a massive statue to find my way back to the castle. This time there was a massive eagle in my path. I ran out of food and I almost had run out of water. I managed to crawl my way back to the castle to retrieve my loot. I managed to retrieve some of it. I even searched the top of the trees for my fallen loot. Then I realized I needed to get to the top of the castle to retrieve the rest of my loot. I did a little bit of looting to try and find something that could help me in my journey to get my loot back. There was not much. So I decided to punch some dirt to get some blocks to get to the top of the castle. I did just that, and I needed to make this one jump to get my loot back. I failed. Once again, I pulled through the field and stopped at this village that was on the path to the castle. I also ate this cake since I was hungry, and it gave me invisibility. That's quite strange, but it's pretty cool. And I also found some wood that I could use to get to the top of the castle. I decided to put all of the valuables I found from the village into this chest, just in case. This time, a dragon was in my path. This is the same dragon that was at the castle earlier on. I could slip by because I had invisibility now. However, the dragon did not care. The dragon turned me to KFC, apparently. I didn't know what to do. All I knew I had to do was sleep on it and continue my journey tomorrow morning. The dragon was still in my path and he would not allow me to go through. I tried to hide underneath this tree, but the dragon was too strong for me. I really needed some food, so I decided to kill some sheep to get some meat. However, this Grim Reaper looking thing popped out of nowhere. It blinded me and then it killed me. For goodness sake. I made it back to the castle, but for some reason, it seemed that no mobs were spawning. I don't have a clue why. However, I used this to my advantage. The dragon was still in the sky, but with no mobs spawning, I could loot the entire of this castle with no issues. That's exactly what I did. I blew up this small cube thing, and each corner of this room had 2 chests containing top tier loot. I looted all of the loot. It was amazing. I finally got some power, and I found this ring of haste that I found out gives me superpowers later on. More on that later. However, I looted every chest, literally every single piece of loot I could find. Heart crystals, maxed out enchantment books, every single thing. Here I found a sharpness 5 enchantment book. That is too OP. I even found a backpack to store more items. And then I decided to quit while I was ahead, before any mob spawned in. And I decided to go home. I had a stroke of luck and I didn't want to ruin it. I finally made myself back to my house and I was safe once again. With my newfound loot, I decided to recraft myself a katana. Then I decided to go to bed after a very long day. The next day I set out to get some XP, as I was only 1 level away from using the shield I made earlier on. I was level 11 in defense. I was just about to turn level 12. Almost died to this tree thing. I was harmlessly going through my chests and I realized a fire demon was flying behind me. He tried to set all of my chests alight, and I knew from this moment onwards that I needed to move house. I've literally built my house straight above another portal, but I decided to go to bed and this happened.
Ah! Sharknado! Jaws are coming for you!
I don't really pay it too much mind. I just decided that I wanted to find out what sapphire does, as I had quite a few sapphire ingots. It didn't seem to have any use though. Since those fire demons wanted to burn my chest, I decided to encase all of my good chests in non-flammable blocks. And then I decided I wanted to go outside to get some XP. However, the sharknado had arrived and was pulling me towards it. I fought back with all of my strength. However, the hitboxes of these sharks were very, very strange. I could only actually hit them if I hit them in like the stomach area. I got the best of this one, but then more followed. I decided to gapple up I need to get the absorption. They flew me around and I smacked my head on this brick. I almost died. Once he arrived, I popped another gapple and I was ready to fight. This fight was so awkward. I literally couldn't hit the shark most of the times. It was very, very bad. The shark eventually got the best of me and I died. I spawned straight back in with a fist and that's it. I instantly got slain again. I realized this was going to be one heck of a fight. I picked up my pickaxe and I started swinging. I was flying everywhere. I managed to re-get my loot. And by the time I looked straight back up again, the shark seemed to have disappeared. I needed to put all my valuable items in protected chests just in case the sharks came back. The next day, I went scouting for my next journey. I was trying to find some castles, some dungeons. I finally found my place. I stopped my mission for a little bit. I decided I did need some XP to get to some diamond armor for my next journey. So I started to grind XP again. I went to the tree that always has monsters underneath it and ended up fighting this enchanted skeleton and this absolutely supersonic god of a spider. I killed them both with ease. I managed to get quite high XP and then I fought these 5 creepers and one was also a supersonic god. Crazy times. I did kill them with absolute ease though, because I'm just a god myself. I saw this dinosaur on the side of this hill and I wanted to test out my arrows, so I aimed, I shot, and I hit. I aimed, I shot, and I hit again. And then I ran out of arrows, which was kind of anticlimactic. I still needed some XP, so I decided to try and fight some skeletons. I fought this one, and it was pretty easy. I fought this next skeleton, and it was also pretty easy. But then, out of nowhere, this woodland monster one-shot me. What the hell? And when I thought it couldn't get any worse, a demon spawned at my bed. I went back to the site that I died to try and retrieve my fallen loot. And he was acting passive now. What is going on? I thought everything was cool. Until all of a sudden, he wanted to kill me. I didn't know what to do. I fought back with all of my strength, but he got the best of me. And I died again. The demon from earlier started to sell all my chests alight. I was really panicking. I thought I was going to lose all of my hard-earned loot. I decided to try and get a weapon. However, he flew through the wall and burnt me to death. I got the best of the demon eventually, and I finally made it back with some decent loot to kill off the enemy that killed me earlier on. I picked up all of my loot that I lost, and I actually managed to retrieve 5 XP levels from my fallen XP. I then decided enough is enough. I need to kill all of the enemies that are underneath my base. So I decided to dig down to the nether area. However, the enemies were too strong and there was too many of them. I thought, that's okay. I'll just go to sleep. That's fine. I tried to go to sleep and another Reaper spawned. This guy was very, very strong. Almost killed me. I managed to get into bed without dying and I woke up to see another day. I was scouting for a new home and I came across this village that I visited earlier on in this Let's Play. There seemed to be some sort of dragon or fire creature circling the area. However, the villagers have their own defense system, so I decided it was a pretty safe place to stay. I scouted out the area and I found the house that I wanted to live in. It already had diamond armor and diamond sword, diamond horse armor, and everything I needed, and a good open upstairs. I did some more scouting and I went into the library and it seemed like a pretty cool place. There was also this dungeony area just outside of the village that had some mob spawners which weren't actually spawning any mobs, just like the same issue we had in the castle earlier. So I took this to my advantage and mined the mob spawners to get closer to that diamond armor. Upon my arrival back, it seemed that a forest fire had broken out. I was starting to get worried. Was this actually a safe place to live? The night fell and I didn't know what to do. There were enemies everywhere. The forest was on fire. However, I decided to run to this house that was just outside of the village as I thought this might be a good area to stay. However, there was no sleeping bags inside. There were bad mobs surrounding the entire house. I knew if I stepped out, I was most probably gonna die, and I didn't want that. However, I was bored, so I decided to break my only protection and make a run for it. I managed to get back to the village with no problems, and I put all of my loot in a chest for later. I spotted the supercharged spider by himself, so I decided to eliminate him to push me over to the level 16 mark so I could finally get level 16 defense. This means I could finally wear diamond armor. I made it back to my house. I tried to go to sleep and a Reaper spawned. He almost killed me. It was a great fight. He blinded me, but I got the better of him. I finally went to bed, continued my journey the next morning. I made it all the way back to my house and I decided to grab every little thing I could. I had to transport it all the way back to the village. I healed up for my journey, I went to bed, and I set off for my intense journey the next day. I made it back to the village safe and sound. This was really great as I was really worried that I was going to lose all my loot on the way there. I put all the loot I had on me in a chest. The last 7 days I was just AFK. Like I literally just went and watched a movie and I left RLCraft running for some reason. So yeah, it was coming near to day 50. So I decided that I would try and loot the temple I saw earlier. Went up the stairs with the katana in hand, ready to fight. I went inside, but it seemed that it led to nowhere. Even dropped down and broke into the side of the temple just to find a cave spider spawner with nothing else. Literally, it led to absolute nowhere. I eventually gave up, went home and went to bed. The next day I found this little dungeon thing. It just kept spawning zombies over and over again. So I thought, you know what, I'll use this as a mob spawner to get some XP. But I did. After I cleared out quite a few of the zombies, I went to try and loot it. There wasn't too much loot inside, so my plan of just make it a mob spawner for XP grinding was a good plan. Came across this red rune looking thing in this new biome. Didn't seem to have much use though. And there was this abandoned mansion that I thought was my next location to loot. When I got there, there was this angry little pixie. He was really small, but he was really powerful. I eventually got the best of him though. It had some decent potions inside, but nothing too special. I also found this dungeon loot tower, which I just went up the side of to just break through and grab the loot without even eliminating any enemies. It was really cold and it was night time, so I eventually just used a really cool potion I got from the loot tower. I didn't get anything super special from there. I got some decent loot. Then I went to bed. I woke up the next morning to enchant my chest plate, but realized I wasn't a high enough level. So I went back to the zombie spawner to get some XP. Literally just slayed as many zombies as I could. Then I went back to bed. Finally got enough XP to be able to enchant, and then... Sorry guys to interrupt, but we're at the end of the video. I know, the whole 100 days isn't done yet. Why is it stopping? Well, because this is my first Minecraft video on my entire channel, I'm actually going to use this as a test video. So if you guys seem to like it, I'll upload a second part with the last 50 days remaining. If you did go to enjoy, please make sure to subscribe, like, and turn the notification bell on. I did some crazy things in the last 50 days, so if you do want to enjoy that video when it comes out, make sure to turn the notification bell on. If you did make it this far, I really do appreciate it. It was so fun to record. My Twitter, TikTok, and my Instagram are in my description down below, so make sure to follow them if you want to keep up to date on when part 2 comes out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.